Hey Aquarius, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. When I was doing the pre-shuffle, what I was seeing is that it looks like there's something that you're investing in right now, and maybe before you were like, I don't know what this is gonna be or what this is gonna turn into or sort of where this is going, but now I'm seeing you be more clear on that. So it could have been something where were already like putting in the energy or putting in the time and being like, who knows what this is gonna turn into, but I'm seeing something like sort of start to materialize for you, whether that be like physically or energetically, like you're getting a bigger picture of what's happening here, of what's formulating. We are starting off with the three of wands and also the page of pentacles. This means that like having in your mind like where you're going in a more like long-term way is definitely going to be helpful. This can also be like the next steps that you're taking too. Three of Wands can be like, where do I hope to end up? Because when you think about it, think about the Ace of Wands, and that's like an opportunity. So it's like we can go in that direction. It's becoming more feasible now. Two of Wands is like, now we're planning out, like, do I take this opportunity or that one? Or do we go here with it or do we go there with it? Three of Wands is kind of like, where am I hoping that this takes me? And it can be connected with the future. It's also connected with like how you hope to make progress. So thinking about that, not just like what you're doing right now in this moment, but also how that's going to affect you later on. That's what you're meant to be focusing on right now, at least for this moment. There's a little bit of a heaviness in the air with this. Some of you have something going on with your knee. Maybe having an issue with one of your knees. Page of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. Why are you doing what you're doing? Do you feel connected to it? Ace of Cups and Ten of Swords can be something where you were like, this is an opportunity, but then close the door on something. Have mixed feelings about that. So Ace of Cups can be like something new coming into the environment, like a new chance, a new opportunity, a new something. And because it's an Ace of Cups, it has to do with something you feel connected to or could potentially feel connected to, or an opportunity to connect in some way. So you'd have to size this up and be like, is that really like an open door for my heart in that way? But then to see the Ten of Swords and to see the Seven of Cups here, this can be like ending something and then like sort of having mixed feelings about it, or it can be closing a door or like the culmination of a cycle where you are like, I know that this is going to be closing out, and so I'm going to be starting this other thing. Because the 10 is like a close, but it's also an opening, right? Because the 10 is going to be the end of a cycle, and then we break out into an ace. So that'll be like the first page of a new book, of a new cycle that you're starting. Seven of Cups can be, I feel like it's particularly mixed feelings about this thing coming to an end. This can also be like, if I take on this thing, this other thing has to close out. Like one of those moments where you're like, okay, something's being offered to me and I know that I can't hold on to both. So I may have to make a decision here. And some of you are trying to figure out like, what's the better option for me? And wanting to make the right choice, but being like, which one is it though? Look at how far you've come. Notice that I feel like some of you are not giving yourself enough credit here. You just be feeling really stressed out about what's going on right now, because it is a high stress thing that you're going through. You know, it can feel kind of intense. may be sort of like all over the place emotionally. You're trying to make sense of something here, and it can be difficult to be in that space where things like aren't clicking yet, but you're not going to be there forever. And also, like, try to zoom out a little bit here, because I'm seeing you very, very focused on something, and you need to pull back like your perspective a little bit here. And look at how far you've come. I think also being okay with being in that like in between liminal space can be helpful as well. Okay. Some of you, you're not in the liminal space. You actually, you know what to do here, but it may be maybe the challenging thing to do here. It's like one of those moments which happens semi-frequently where you're like, I know what my intuition is telling me. Maybe I wish I didn't know what my intuition was telling me here. Seeing you also sort of like keep what's going on emotionally to yourself, or like what's going on mentally to yourself, especially this like deeper, more difficult stuff. But I feel like there's a feeling about something here. It can be something that part of you is like, I wish I didn't know. Or I wish I wasn't feeling like this. I wish I could make it go away. But it's like this deeper part of your knowing. Like an awareness of something, I feel. Some of you too, this has to do with keeping something to yourself. We have the High Priestess next to the Hanged Man. So this is the Moon and Neptune together with one another. Neptune can be like our spirituality. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So when you think about Venus like in overdrive, that's what Neptune is. It's like the things that you're attracted to, but like even far beyond just a physical sense. It's like in a mystical way, in an energetic way. It's like the type of art that we produce. It's like what's going on inside of our imagination, the things that we're drawn to, the things that we want to be close to, the things that we want to explore, the things that we can touch in a way that goes beyond just a tangible way, what brings us comfort, what we want to experience, our wildest dreams, what is pleasant to us. It also has to do with like forms of expression, like photography and stuff like that, things that are communicated that transcend verbal language. And the moon is like that too. So I feel like something's going on like on an energetic plane that you're feeling, because Neptune and the moon are very mystical, spiritual bodies. And so when we're connected with that, it's like our intuition and what we're feeling. Also too, because like Moon and Neptune are also psychic energies as well. It's connected with that part of us that, again, like transcends just the physical and is connected with something beyond that, something like all-encompassing even. And so this can be something very, very internally that you're experiencing as well. That may not be plain to see on the surface, but when you look a bit deeper, there's something going on here. I will say this, at first glance, there may be something happening here intuitively that you're now aware of, but to have the Hanged Man, it's like you may still in some way be like limiting your perspective of this. There may be a different frame that you can put this within. Because the Hanged Man is about dropping an old narrative and embracing a new one that feels like more fitting and is better adjusted to where we're growing into. And it has to do with something here. Something here that you have. But again, High Priestess is feeling like an awareness. And I'm seeing the context be something that like maybe hard, like a hard pill to swallow. I do want to say this too, like something that is really sticking out to me. It looks like there's something that either you know you need to end, or that is ending, or that has ended. It's all centered around an ending, but I'm seeing the devil is what's creating confusion. The devil is like anything that we can buy into that's going to further us into some sort of illusion or distortion. Okay, so it like the devil is something that like minimizes the truth and clarity and like epiphanies, and it creates further like separateness, and it takes us away from what's real and what's true. And so as much as it can feel like a band-aid for us or something that can be comforting, it's like a lie that we're buying into in some way. You know, it's like self-deception ultimately, and like moving like further into the darkness and away from the light in like a very metaphorical sense, because I feel like we can look at the devil and be like, oh no, like it's so bad, but it's like it doesn't have those values unless you assign that to it. The deal with the devil is that it's like when we're not ready to face the truth, or when we're not seeing things for what they really are, and how we can like buy a lie because we'd rather like lie to ourselves and be honest with ourselves about something. And it can come from a place too where we're trying to fill a hole because we're telling ourselves that we're not like complete without something else. Like devil can be something outside of us that we're grabbing onto because we feel like that's the thing that's going to do it for us, when really, again, like it's a lie, you know, but it's something that we buy into because it brings us comfort in some way. And so I'm getting that because of your attachment to whatever this thing is that's closing out, that's where this is coming from. That's why you feel like sort of jumbled up emotionally. So I'm getting that. Let's just say it like this. When a dependency is created to something, when you're like weaning off of it, all you can do is think about that thing, because it's like become a habit in some way, whether like emotionally, psychologically, physically, you've created that dependency. So you want that thing because you feel dependent on it. And then when there's that like titrating that's happening here, because I'm seeing like something is closing out, so it's like you don't have access to that anymore, or you're not going to be having access to it. It's hard to tell like what's going on because you're still like weaning yourself off of it and you're not clear yet. So it's like very much to be expected that you would be in this place. Like it actually makes perfect sense for why you would be where you are emotionally right now and mentally. So yeah, something isn't going to make sense, you know? It's like a drunk person isn't going to be able to do things necessarily a sober person would. It changes the like frequency, it changes where you're operating from. And I mean this in like a metaphorical, like energetic sense, when that attachment is still connected and that cord is still connected and you're pulling away from it, like you're really going to feel that empty space, what you feel like is missing. But I'm getting that once you like get clean from whatever this is, and this can even be like, I'm talking about in any way, like psychologically, like you used to like have a habit and do something every day, like go somewhere every day or be with a group of people every day, and now you're not doing that anymore. And because you like have that gap now where that's not being filled, of course you think about it when it's time that you would go to that place or be with that group of people. So you're still like sorting through, you're still processing everything emotionally. The thing with the devil as well is that it allows you to sort of like not process things, so it puts stuff on a back burner because it's like, it's okay, don't think about that, like do this instead. And so things get like pushed down and pushed down and pushed down. And so when you stop doing that thing, because it can be a distraction, when you stop doing that thing, all the stuff starts coming up, and it's hard to like make sense of what's coming up because everything needs to come up first before you can sort of go through it. And so you're at that spot now where like everything's starting to come up, And so you're not going to immediately be able to organize it. Like, it all just needs to be purged right now. So that's what's happening energetically for you. And that's why you're feeling sort of like chaotic, especially internally. But it's not going to be, this is just like part of this aspect of the cycle for you. It's not going to stay like this. Work with how you're feeling. You don't need to do anything to it or with it as far as like judging it or valuing it, but like just allow everything to come up and sort of be with it and be willing to like work with it and learn from it. Having this be coming up right now where you're like, I'm feeling like this, and then I'm feeling like this, and then I'm feeling like that, and then I'm having these thoughts over here, and now I can't stop thinking about this, and then I'm feeling like I should go in this direction. It's like all of this stuff that's happening right now. Three of Pentacles is like, how are you working with that aspect of you? Because it's all just stuff that is coming up that you're becoming aware of. Like, what are you doing with that? Three of Pentacles is actively like working with it and being like, what is this trying to communicate with me? Like, what am I meant to be picking up? Because Three of Pentacles is about, it's about collaborating. So this is like, how are you collaborating with you and what's coming up right now for you within this process? Because it's trying to say something to you. Like, these are messages that you're sending to yourself that you basically need to decode right now. But it's like secret messages. It's a very cryptic thing that's happening. So that's why you have to make the effort to actually find out what those messages mean, what that is, what it's trying to communicate to you. Some of you too could have been looking at this and like felt like this experience was so unpleasant that you were like pushing it away and pushing it away and pushing it away. And when you are able to reframe this, you're gonna see that it's like trying to do something else. Like, these emotions that you're experiencing or mentally like what you're going through right now, it's not so you can suffer. It's like trying to communicate something to you so you don't have to suffer in the future from the same thing. So it's about completing this cycle here so you don't have to repeat it again. Because if you don't repeat it, meaning you don't absorb this and apply it, the same thing is just going to happen again and again. And that's what this is about too, the devil. It's like, distract or do this over here. Like, look over here instead of at the thing over there. And then you find yourself in the same thing over and over again. Like, buying into the lie, buying into the illusion, and like not seeing through that. But you're breaking a pattern, you're breaking a cycle here, a very important one. And it's one that like you're going to be able to liberate yourself from this, and so you're not going to give your power away to it anymore. And that's also the thing with like Moon and Neptune too, is that like both of those energies can speak about addictions as well, far beyond just physical like substance type stuff, okay? It's like these patterns and behavior, especially Neptune. And like to have Neptune with the Moon too, it can be like the Neptune can speak about like avoidance and how we can go off to like Neverland and avoid things because of what we're going through emotionally. So rather than processing it, it's like, let me do this instead so I can like tuck it away again or like shove it down again and not have to deal with it again. But this is about like opening the lid and actually addressing what's going on and where that's coming from, like getting to the source of it. Okay? Nice. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.